All right. Hello, everybody. It is, 60 seconds until 8 o'clock. And so we are on and ready for an amazing live. We have been um, on a small hiatus because we've been doing a lot of traveling. I had the opportunity to graduate from our yoga teacher training that we've done for the last few months. So excited about that. And in addition to that, just got back from Costa Rica. So, hey, we've had some things going on, but so glad to be back with you. We're going to share this out right now, hoping that you do the same thing. We are ready for an amazing time. And I'm going to introduce myself in just a moment, but have you shared this yet is the question, to let someone know that we are on. This is about to be an amazing discussion, and I want those who are in your life that you love to be a part of it. And I'm hoping that you can find it. Thumbs up, LaTonya, you got it? Okay, good. All right. We are good to go. My name is Trenace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women, and we exist to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. We do that through sister circles, and we typically host sister circles across the country and abroad in person. We pre-COVID, we're hosting in-person sister circles on a monthly basis in several key areas, the DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, Hampton Roads, Virginia area, and then taking Real Women on the road across the country and abroad. Right now, in this season of moving out, I believe by faith that we are moving out of this COVID season, but while we're in it, we are meeting virtually. And so we invite every woman who listens to this either live or on the replay to join us in our virtual sister circles every month. We host one via Zoom. And this month, April, we're meeting Saturday, April 24th, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And this one is going to be entitled, This Is Your Story, or This Is My Story, right? The idea, something just went down the wrong way. All right, the idea of the fact that we are so enamored and inspired by other people's stories, but what about ours? There is so much power. There is so much to our story that we don't give ourselves credit for. And so we're going to talk about that this Saturday, April 24th of this month. We would love for you to join us. All of our information is at realwomenrock.org. Again, realwomenrock.org. So join us there. I am so excited. We just have a good 30 minutes. We give you on these Thursday nights a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. These are real women doing extraordinary things, and we want to have a real conversation with you. So this is interactive. Please say hello to us. Let us know that you are here. Wave at us, no matter which venue you are in. We'll see you, Facebook or YouTube. We would love for you to say hello to us. And every week we bring you someone who is absolutely amazing. And this week is no different. So I'm going to add her to the screen to introduce her to you, because we have the RevCoach with us today. I am so excited to introduce to some of you, but I'm sure just present to many more of you who are here either live or on the replay, who are excited about this powerhouse. She is a spiritual life coach, a public speaker. She's an author. She is a production consultant and coach on the Emmy Award-Winning, hello somebody, show that's on the OWN network, the Reverend Dr. Iyanla Vanzant fixed my life. And so I had the opportunity. I will never, ever forget, even though we don't get to connect often at all. We said this, Latanya, I won't forget the way in which we connected.
Yeah.
The strongest, it's just going to always be etched in my brain as a fireside chat. It was really phenomenal for me in December at Dr. Vicki Johnson's conference a few years ago now, but it was exactly what I needed at the time. And so not only do you help the world, but you were a blessing to me, and continuing to watch all that you do in the world is a blessing. Welcome to the platform. You want to say hello?
Thank you so much. Of course, I'm so grateful to be here, and always in sisterhood, always in community. And you're right, we did share a very special moment. So greetings, everyone out there. I like to believe that when we have moments like that they are always spirit-led, divine setups.
Yes.
And so I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. I am ready to dig in, because let me tell you, oftentimes I can predict, I can guess kind of where we're going to go in a conversation, but I was so excited by all that I know about you, and, you know, do my little bit of homework and everything for these conversations, and the kinds of questions we ask you as guests about what we can look forward to conversing with you about. And that woman wrote intimacy with love and money. I was like, yes. So I am so wide open for this conversation. I'm going to put questions in the chat for you all that I want you to ask. You're welcome to ask questions or to answer the questions that I post, because this is not just a conversation between Latanya and I. It is really a conversation with all of us. And so I'm inviting you all to interact with us. I'd love for you to just start by describing the work that you do. Anything about yourself and your work that you'd like to share?
Sure. First of all, so those of you who don't know me, I'm Tonia Taylor, affectionately known as the RevCoach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the priestess of purpose, pleasure, passion, and now profit.
Hey.
So essentially what I do is I turn blind spots into breakthroughs. Love, sex, and money blind spots into purpose, pleasure, passion, or profit breakthrough. Of course, it has evolved over time. I started out working with vision and healing and that type of thing, but it has definitely evolved, because as I worked with women over the years with just prioritizing their vision for themselves, I found that there were always these little spots hidden in love, sex, and money. And they have a common denominator. And those common denominators have a message. And so a lot of us don't want to touch on that. But when you start working with one thing, you start to have a domino effect. And so it definitely evolved in terms of intimacy and money, because what would happen is when women would come to do the work and really commit to the work, now it's time to move out in the world and live in your vision, live your desire. Open yourself up to better relationships. And every single time that it would always be a breakdown in terms of practical application of their relationship with money, particularly when women are dehydrated, malnourished in their feminine. When the feminine is malnourished, you can be working and achieving, but still not feeling abundant, and certainly not really prosperous.
Girl, you just gonna hear me amening and wooing and hallelujah and everything over here. Pay me no mind while you talking. I'll make it real clear when I want to jump in. But you just said so much. And I'm wondering where, I'll ask you in a second, kind of where even the impetus for this work came from for you, because, you know, helping women with their intimacy issues, their relationship issues, all of that is so important. But then to even see that connection and that thread in how comfortable they are with prosperity and profitability and their money, just their relationship with money in general. I have a whole story behind that for myself personally
Mhm.
that I'll share with you in a moment. But for you all that are listening and watching, how comfortable are you with the word intimacy? Whether it comes from the lens of your money or your love life, how comfortable are you? Some of us have some walls built up, and we don't like that word intimacy and being vulnerable or being close or comfortable with much of anybody. So or anything. And so that's the first question for you all in the audience. And I want to know from you, LaTonya, kind of what's your story? Where did this work come from for you?
I'd love to share my story. Of course, I wrote about my part of my story in my book. But how it started for me was my own personal liberation. And that's where rebirth came from. First, I had to rebirth myself. But every time I would rebirth myself, there would be another rebirth and another rebirth. And every one of those rebirths of myself, I was able to come out of cocoons that were not mine. I want you to get this. Like, they weren't my cocoons. Some of them were. But when you are in a space where you're hiding, where you're holding on to beliefs that you inherited. And so for me, I started out with being the black sheep of the family in my mind. I knew I was called. I knew there was something special, but I felt like, that there was that there was a disconnect. And so I started on my journey. I love the story of Ruth and I love the story of Hagar because I can relate to those women feeling like you are rejected, feeling like you don't know where you're going or what you're going to do. And so when I left, I began to work on myself. And I recognized, first of all, that I had a broken heart. Well, the word says that the issues that are hidden in your heart, right? So therefore, when you begin to go into the heart, and many of us have been taught not to trust the heart, that the heart is deceptive, that the heart is this, and I couldn't imagine that, because as I started to work with Iyanla Vanzant, first, I remember Dr. Chenese, when I was actually looking. I was a young wife. I complied with religion. Religion was my out. Religion was my safe place in my mind.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I couldn't get the love in my family, if I didn't feel it in myself, surely God will love me. And so I went into service. I went into getting married early. But here I am now, a young wife following God, following the tenets of the religion, and not knowing what in the world to do.
Wow.
I didn't fully know about intimacy. I certainly didn't know about building a business because my ex-husband at the time was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Can I interrupt you? I just want to interject right there really quickly, because inserting right there that those two areas that you just mentioned are really two key areas that the church, because you mentioned church, does not deal with in a real substantive way. Most churches, our love life, intimacy as it relates to that, or business and profitability and how to grow in a professional way. And so the fact that you felt a gap or a void in those areas, but really seeking God for guidance and not really getting that guidance from the church, it seemed. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And honestly, I said religion because it wasn't the church per se. I was in a religion. Later on, I was in more of a church experience. Mind you, I had grown up in more of a church experience, but it's religion. And that is why I'm able to meet women where they are, because I'm not so churchified and that I can shun or condone other religions or other people in other walks of life. And that is a part of my story, because I felt the shunning from the church and the church people in my family. So you add on being a young wife and not having anywhere to go to the women who churched me. The women who were sending me duplicitous messages. You know what I mean? You grow up being told to close your legs and do this and do that. But when I got, and listen, when my first husband, I didn't have sex before marriage. So you think you get these brownie points with God, and so you're exempt. So now when you get on the other side and you get into the marriage and you think, well, hey, I did everything right. in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so then now, if I can't go to my mother or my aunts because they're negative or they have certain messages, or I don't quite understand, they don't understand the spiritual journey that I'm on. It forced me to search somewhere because I had so many questions. That's really how I started. And what happened is I went to the bookstore, looking for resources from authors that look like me. To talk to me the way that an auntie would, or a spiritually evolved woman would. There was nothing on the shelf for me except for Iyanla Vanzant, tapping the power within. But I was so religiosity in my spirit. That I was afraid to read it. So I bought the book, opened the book, looked at the first page, and was like, oh no. So I put it away. And then some other sister, and this is why I believe women give each other permission to heal, to break through, and to tell the truth when we're not judgmental, when we're not too rigid and not too fixed. It was another sister who came in and talked about the shifts that she had. And I was like, really? And it just made me go back and revisit my own rigidity and how isolated I felt as a young woman. And basically, I started doing the work. And I started doing the work on myself, fell in love with it, and the rest is history.
I love that.
I know that was long.
Because oftentimes what has to happen is we have to have, and I don't know if that's my volume, but oftentimes what has to happen is we have to experience the deliverance, the breakthrough, and that we're supposed to help usher other people through. So our wounds become a salve and a healing for other people as a result of us experiencing the brokenness first. I love that. Women give each other permission to heal when they are not too judgmental. I want you to speak to this issue of intimacy because we're going to just go ahead and dive into this idea of intimacy and love and in marriage and in money. But what do you see as intimacy? How do you define it, or how do you see it when you think about love and money?
So definitely when I think about intimacy, I think, and I hear a lot of people, pastors using this, but I'm gonna tell you something about pastors. A lot of times they don't tell you where they get their universal law, spiritual law, which is an equalizer for all things. They don't tell you this, but intimacy is taught from metaphysicians. I'm a trained metaphysician, meaning above the literal translation of scripture is into me, I see. So if I'm looking into myself, if I'm taught how to look into myself regarding love, regarding sex, regarding money, regarding God, regarding food, anything that has access to the inners of me, then that means that when I look into it, I look into myself. Why? Because that's where God is. But we have been programmed to only look for God out there, over there, up there.
Right.
Not the goddess within. And the word, even God, has so much weight on it that we put more weight on the word and less of the weight on ourselves.
Yes, that is so good. So good. It is like looking outside of ourselves for ourselves, like literally.
Yes.
And
you know what you said earlier, you said that people have an issue with the word intimacy. If anyone that has the issue with the word intimacy definitely has an issue with the word pleasure. Because I evolved through those P's, the power of those P's. And purpose was where first prayer and all of that. Purpose was where I began.
Yeah.
But pleasure really is why, because we have been taught, particularly melanated women and brown people, typically have been taught to have a high threshold for pain and a low threshold for pleasure. And so therefore, intimacy is something that's duty bound. That's something used as a token to communicate with the people that we love with, versus intimacy is something that I'm 100%, and anything that I invite you to be in a part of, I'm bringing your 100%, not your 50, not your 40, not your 60. I'm not half of a woman. I'm not looking for half of a partner. When you start communicating in wholeness, then you co-create together. So therefore, if I co-create with my partner, then I'll co-create with my friends. I'll co-create in business. I'll stop seeing women as competition and see women as people to collaborate with. I'll start to believe that there is enough to go around. Because why? Because I've done the work into me that I can see the abundance here. I can see the permission here. I can see the potency in me as a woman. Many women feel impotent. Impotent women have an aversion to intimacy. And I don't care what we're producing out in the world, because guess what? I work with all these high-level women who are leaders out there, and they are publicly successful and privately feeling insignificant, on the verge of breakdowns. And oftentimes our husbands don't know it. Our partners don't know the traumas that we're carrying. So the traumas that we have on the inside, we never have processed through them. And we have not been held accountable in families that favor therapy, counseling, coaching, tribes where you can thrive and be held accountable in love, in truth, in liberation.
I love everything you just said. And I just want to add maybe my own personal truth to put some meat around what you just said, because what I think we end up doing oftentimes is we bring that trauma that you just talked about, and I don't know where that back feedback is coming from. I'm hoping you all don't hear it. But wherever our traumas are, they have caused us not to trust. And so we don't trust others. And then we begin to doubt and distrust ourselves. And so there's this level of intimacy that you're talking about that we can't have with others, because as you just said, intimacy is into me, I see. And so I don't know who I am anymore. I don't trust who I am. And I don't believe that I have the power and the healing in my own hands. I don't believe that God has given me the power to co-create my life, that I have the power of choice and freedom and liberation. I don't trust anything about my own life. So how could I even trust other people? And that goes to our relationships and in love. So we build these walls up. And then in addition to that, our relationship with money often ends up being a scarcity mentality rather than abundance, all that you just talked about. And I have had to overcome and still processing, because I believe what happens is we have this tape that has, as you said, we've inherited. And as a result of inheriting whatever those beliefs are, we have to override those tapes. And so I literally ended up writing down and getting it from some of the work and the readings that I've been doing. What do I believe about money? Do my beliefs match my dreams? How does my relationship with money affect my current situation? Do I believe I'm worthy? Do I believe I'm capable? Do I trust money? Does money trust me? I believe all of that is about energy. It's what we bring, our perspective to ourselves, and then it translates into love and money. I heard all of that about my own journey when you were just explaining your how you have gotten to talking about pleasure and profit in business and in life. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for my own personal story, because I started this journey very young, like I said, 19 years old. I've been coaching for 20 years. I've been walking with Iyanla for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've seen a lot, I've heard a lot, and I've been serving. So I am conditioned to be a servant leader, a minister, a teacher, a healer. So of course I attract that. That's another tip for those of you who like to run to the mic, to the front of the room. This is why you want to do your work, because when you get to the front of the room, you attract whatever you are, whether it's hidden or whether people can see it. So you wonder why you attract people who don't want to pay you, who don't pay on time, who want something for free. You wonder why you have to struggle in your business, because many of us still have an employee mindset, even in our relationships. Mm-hmm. When you're not an entrepreneur, when you don't have a bloodline reference of true ability to lead a business, not be a good employee, but to be a business, because ministry is a business. And so if you don't know this, you will have so many things weaved up in commerce, in interacting in commerce, that this is why so many of us are drained, are burnt out, are feeling taken advantage of by our own calling. Your anointing can become a place of bitterness if you're not careful. Your anointing will, I mean, just because it's an anointing, when we martyr ourselves, when we have it set up that we're supposed to suffer and earn brownie points, then where do we get that? Because that's a slave theology. That is not freedom.
I am just writing it so somebody can see it, because somebody needs to see it. You said your anointing can become a place of bitterness, and it is so true. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, that our wounds are there. They are supposed to be the place where we're able to use that for healing. But if we don't ever process our wounds, if we don't ever deal with them and allow them to heal, then it's like continually messing with a scab. Like you just gonna keep picking at the wound and not dealing with it and making it worse, and it will abscess because we are not dealing with inside of us. We can sicken ourselves. What do they say? It's when we don't deal with the stuff that's going on inside of us, it becomes dis-ease. It becomes disease inside of us when we don't deal with it. And it can be the stuff that we're gifted to deal with. It can break us. That's why there are so many people that we see on platforms who we would think they have everything in the world. Why would they have any issues? Or why do they end up dealing with tragedy or trauma that's self-inflicted? It's we need to deal with and process our stuff no matter what kind of gifts we hold, right?
Yeah, I actually want to invite you all to watch an upcoming show of Iyanla Fix My Life. Ooh, in fact, I really want you all to watch the whole season. I would love to come back, and if you all pick a show and let's debrief on a show. The reason why is because what you just said is going to demonstrate. I can't tell you everything, but when you watch this next set of shows, we work specifically with, there's a show where we work specifically with some very successful women.
Yeah.
And when you see us do this work, many women, high achieving, high performing women will see themselves.
Wow.
And we need safe spaces to do that work. I'm so proud of this particular set of shows that we have coming up. If you all have seen the sizzle for it, I'm telling you, we went in to do this work.
I saw one with Lisa Ray. Go ahead. Yeah, it's going to get good.
That's the picture from Lisa Ray. That's the picture from the Lisa Ray show.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
And let me tell you the beauty of this. This represents 3 generational women. So when you said we don't know we have healing in our hands, we don't know that we have healing in our womb. We don't know that we have healing in our breasts. We don't know that we have healing here. And so a lot of us say one thing out there, but at home we are raising holy, you know what?
Woo, 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 woo. So true. You know what? So let me tell you how quick this goes, LaTonya. We are at just about the 30-minute mark. The goal of this is to just give a teaser, and you've already put it out there. So I feel the freedom to say you will be invited back, maybe even to just focus in on one of the episodes, whichever one you feel like we can dig into the most. I would love to be able to do that at some point. But thank you so much. I want you to share any last words you have for us, because you've given us so many nuggets as it relates to what intimacy is, kind of the impetus of it behind your story. Any final words that you have? And in addition to that, whatever you want us to latch on to or connect with you about the work that you're doing, in case, and I know some folks do want to continue connecting with you after this.
Okay, sure. Well, I want to invite everyone to our community as well, where I do actually do weekly talks, or you can log on to my YouTube channel. Anything you want to connect to me on is LaTonia Taylor, myname.com. And what I'd like to leave you all with is one, self-control is strength. Some of us believe that self-control is lack, is discipline is bad. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power, and peace be still. So when you
again, just do that. You can't just drop nuggets like that. Say it again. Self-control is strength.
Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Peace, be still. Tell your peace to be still, and shift everything. Shift yourself, shift your health, shift your intimacy, shift your finances, and shift your thoughts. And you can shift everything use text Rebirth 360, text Rebirth 360 to 844.
Hold on, I'm writing so they can get it. Text.
Okay, let me pull it up so I don't mess it up, because I don't have my assistant here to help me. I don't operate. 844-601-0700.
Okay, one more time.
844-601-0700. Text Rebirth 360. Rebirth 360. I have a gift there for you to preview a shift everything process. The process is going to open later, but if you get it now, all of the first responders will get a special early bird invitation to the 21-day process if you choose to experience it. And it's less than a pair of shoes. It's worth you being able to shift everything.
Now listen, so it doesn't get any easier than this, y'all. It's on the screen for you. And then you said LaToniaTaylor.com, correct?
Yeah,
so I'll put that up in a second. But the idea of you getting quality, good pouring into by just take a picture of it, y'all, on your phone right now. Just take a picture of it. If you're not typing it right now, take a picture so that you can get it. And then connect with LaTonya after this. The RevCoach is not just a consultant and a coach to the celebrities who are on Fix My Life, and not just being consulted and advised and mentored by Reverend Dr. Iyanla Vanzant, but she is available to you. And so we want you to make sure you connect with her. I would love for you to experience the floodgates opening up and those folks coming in live as well as on the replay as a result of this, LaTonya. Yeah, so I speak that. So I want to just thank you, because I'm going to end as I started by just sharing that I had a fire chat with you, a fireside chat with you, and a couple of other sister girlfriends. And I think now all of you all have been up here now. So just about. But the idea that you took the time out in the late night hours to just share and talk with me, it has made all the difference. We never know what seeds we are planting, and some of us water, some of us, do the seeding, but it's God who gives the increase. And I just thank you for being a
Yes.
part of that, a part of my journey in that way. And it's just a relationship that has begun. We are just beginning. And any final words you have as we close?
I just want to tell you from another sister publicly how proud I am of you. You are such a shining light, and I stand for you. I cheer for your success. I am so happy for you to be seen beyond the borders of the church or anywhere that you've been serving. You deserve to be seen. I know you asked me to do a closing for something else, but I just wanted to give that love back to you. I'm proud of you. I celebrate you and all of the women who you are bringing and you are setting free just because of your willing to ask questions and to be authentic. And I just want to celebrate that real women and rebirth we can do some magical things. And I want to have you in my community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You set them together and they just work. So we got to do it. Thank you so much. You all, if you didn't hear from the beginning, I know some of you are just tuning in. You got to go back and listen from the beginning. This has been an incredible journey, these 30 minutes with Tonia Taylor, who is the RevCoach, who is a consultant and coach and producing an Emmy Award-Winning show, in addition to the work that she is doing with Juicy and Rebirth and all of the writing that she produces. Go check her out. What's the name of the book, LaTonya?
My Juicy Rebirth. My Juicy Rebirth.
Yes. Just by the cover, y'all want to get it. Please connect with her, LaToniaTaylor.com. I'm going to put it in there after I finish talking because I want to make sure I give you all your evening back. We are here every Thursday night at 8:00, giving you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. We also host sister circles. And during this time of COVID, we are pulling these sister circles together virtually for you every month so that no matter where you live in the world, you have a safe space where you can connect in a meaningful way with other women, grow your personal confidence about who you are and who God has created you to be, and then become a catalyst of positive change in somebody else's life. And so this month, April 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern time, we hope that you'll join us. And a couple of folks answered that intimacy question in the comments and said that they have intimacy issues. Child, tell me about it. Like, I'll raise my hand and say, because like you said, LaTonya, we think we have to be this strong woman. We have to build up these walls. And so we get to come and be safe. It doesn't matter what our titles are. It doesn't matter what the roles are that we play. We just get to be a woman who shares honestly and transparently. And so we invite you to come. Go to realwomenrock.org. You can find that information down there, realwomenrock.org, to find out more information about April 24th. I love you guys. And thank you again, LaTonya. This has been juicy, girl. It's been juicy. Love you. Take care.
My pleasure.